The tire iron. The call, Monday, 10:39 p.m., 30-year-old male, for Charlie assault, code 4 to enter, Adams and H Street. Nothing good ever happens near H Street. We went directly from the zombie call to my second death call, the tire iron versus black guy's skull call. Let me start by saying I work 24 Paul, downtown Las Vegas, the busiest square mile for 911 calls in the United States. I'll tell you more about that throughout the book, but for now, concentrate on the call. Remember, lose focus for even 1 second in this game and someone could get hurt or in an accident, which means a drug test, and nobody wants that. We were first on scene and parked just past it, both so we could view the entire area, scene safety, and so the back of the ambulance was as close as possible to the patient, scene laziness. As we passed, we saw 2 black guys working on the rear driver's side brakes of an old Oldsmobile. Figures. It was backed into the driveway. The tire was on the ground next to them. We rolled past the front of the car, wheels chalked, then visualized the passenger side, where the patient, heart rate 0, respiratory rate 0, was lying face down, parallel to the car. No dogs, and nothing else of note, so we parked and got out. The note said code 4 to enter, but we still have to use good judgment, and this area became bad judgment when we crossed over Bonanza and into Ghettoville. Upon closer inspection, there was a tire iron next to the patient that seemed to match the bloody crush wound on the back of his head. Judging from the dried blood, it's about 30 minutes old. We asked the guys to stop pretending like they were working on the car and to come over and tell us a story while Dex and I got ready to emergency roll the body. Life-threatening injuries take priority over C-spine precautions, and put the patient on the monitor. This is what the 2 Democrats told us. About 30 minutes ago, this guy got in a fight with these other 2 black guys. They hit him with that tire iron there and then ran off. But we don't know what they look like because they had on jackets and hats. He seemed okay for the next while, said he was finna go inside. He must have fell, and we called 911 soon as we seen him. Seriously, if it wasn't them or someone they knew, why did they let them take the tire iron? Why is it next to the body and not the tire where they were using it? Either way, it meant whoever killed this guy was, at some point in time, standing with these 2 Democrats. And now the scene is no longer safe because we are alone with the murderers. Fortunately, Metro is rolling up, so we keep smiling. Anyway, they had no real answers, and what actually happened was they hit him with the tire iron, dropped it there next to him, then went back to working on the car. They let him twitch and gasp his last few breaths until he died right there. Then they waited 30 minutes before calling 911, as evidenced by the dried blood. And the 2 black guys that perpetrated this crime blamed it on 2 black guys. What else? Blame it on 2 white guys? No chance. Me, Dex, Fire, and Metro were the only white people in the neighborhood. There were no living witnesses, so the cop took their statement, and that was that. To you, the reader, this call seems like it ends here, but it shouldn't have. The problem with our actions, both mine and the fire medics, were these. The night was cold, the patient was warm, but he wasn't breathing, had no pulse, and his eyes were fixed and dilated. All presumptive signs. But it was still too soon for rigor mortis to set in, and too dark, and the patient's skin too black, to see dependent lividity. We should have worked and transported him to UMC trauma per protocol because we could not match his condition to either of the 2 conclusive medical or 5 pre-hospital traumatic death determination signs. The 2 conclusive medical signs are rigor mortis and dependent lividity. The 5 signs of traumatic death are decomposition, transection of thorax, decapitation, incineration, and massive blunt trauma to the head with obvious organ destruction. The closest we could come was massive blunt trauma to the head, but there was no obvious organ destruction. It wasn't like they blew his brains out, but he was dead and everybody knew it. Since fire didn't want to go back to the station and possibly get sent on another call where they might have to work, they cleared us and stayed with Metro to wait for the coroner. I hope they cleared 854 no paperwork too, or that they carefully documented the call, because if anyone ever read their chart, they might notice that the call happened soon enough that rigor couldn't have set in yet, or the night dark enough that lividity can't be seen on black skin. We, however, cleared the call 854. No medical and no paperwork necessary. Shh. Tire iron.